Happy Tuesdays. Tuesdays with Danielle. Welcome back. I come to you every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, and typically we make a recipe. Sometimes I just jump on and answer some of your questions. Today we are going to do my gluten-free, grain-free chocolate zucchini muffins from my new book, Eat What You Love. And I add an extra kick of some protein with collagen peptides, into them. My kids love them in the mornings, and I feel like it's such a great way to just fill them up and get them fueled for the day with veggies and tons of protein from the collagen and obviously all the eggs. And it's just a fun little treat. And we make a double batch very frequently, which is what we're doing today. So I can just keep them in the freezer and I can pull them out quickly when we don't have time to make something more substantial for breakfast. So usually I'll send them out the door with one of these and maybe a smoothie or a meat stick or something like that, whatever we can kind of quickly get together. We are in summer camp mode right now, so actually we're out of these, and I figured it would be the perfect time to make them for you guys. So quickly before we get started, I am going to give away copies of the book today because we are going to do round 2 of the Cookbook Club. It's starting July 1st. So I wanted to give you guys a chance that don't have the book to win a copy so you can join in with the fun. Last month, it was in May that we did it. It was so fun, especially over on Instagram. Thousands of entries, thousands of people making stuff from the book, posting it. I'll post the rules again on July 1st so we don't have to go through those now. But essentially it was like a virtual cookbook club, kind of like a regular book club, but we all got together virtually online and shared about what recipes were being made from the book and your thoughts on them, and if you had any notes and if you'd make it again. And it just is super fun to see people's photos, and everybody kind of got connected in the comments and seeing what each other were making. So super fun. We had incredible prizes. I don't know yet what the prizes are going to be for July, but I have a couple ideas. I'm like, if you see anything in my kitchen that you want to be the prize, whether it's this or my awesome blender or something like that, let me know, because I can reach out to the company and see if they're willing to donate. Like we did last month, we had a really cool stove pot and an awesome knife, and then of course you got all my books. So we will do that again. Maybe we'll up the ante this time and make it a little bit more exciting. But to win this during this live, there's 2 things you need to do. On Facebook, I need you to tag a friend and leave a comment. And then on Instagram, just go back to any of my last 3 posts on my grid. So just head over to Danielle Walker, my page. Any of my last 3 most recent posts, tag a friend, leave a comment, and that's how you will be entered. I'll go through those tomorrow on Facebook and Instagram, and we'll pick one winner from each, Facebook and Instagram, to send a copy of Eat What You Love to. So let's get started. Actually, I have one more thing that I want to tell you guys about. I'm going to do more of like a vlog to give you guys a little bit more information, but this is, I believe, maybe next week, but this is going to be my last live in this kitchen, which is really crazy, really exciting news, but also super sad for me because this has been such an amazing space for the last 5 years. So I'm going to go into it a little bit more, but we as a family are moving not far, staying in the same town, but getting into a neighborhood where there's more kids, which we're really, really excited about for our kids, just to be able to play and have friends in the area. So that means that we're leaving this little space behind. So lots more to talk about with that, but I just wanted to say that formal announcement because we've kind of been hinting at some exciting things happening over the last month or so, and that is it. So take it in while you can. It's going to be sad, but it's okay. It's loved us well, and it's been amazing. So there'll be a new space that you'll see for lives coming up shortly. Okay, because we did a double batch, this is a heck of a lot of eggs. Thankfully, they are cracked in advance, so you guys don't have to sit and watch me crack them because that would take forever, and you guys would all start signing off. And then we're using a combination of applesauce and maple syrup to help sweeten these. So unsweetened applesauce, I like the Santa Cruz Organics brand, or even just like we buy the whole 65. It really doesn't matter. And then we have maple syrup. And you guys, you can find the full recipe for these in Eat What You Love. You can also find a version of it on my blog, againstallgrain.com. The one on the blog does not incorporate the collagen peptides, and so it's slightly different, but we've been making these for years and years and years. So if I don't have zucchini, sometimes I'll do carrots. You can see all of those modifications over on the blog. Okay, I'm gonna start this. So we've got eggs, applesauce, maple syrup.
are doing that, we have some people wondering if they could use marine collagen instead of collagen from beef.
Yes, you can use marine collagen. I personally do not like the flavor of it. I'm just going to be honest. But if you don't detect it and you think the chocolate will cover it up and the maple syrup, then 100% you can go for it. I'm going to be using just the plain Vital Proteins collagen peptides. It's just the one that I really like. But yeah, you can use whatever you want. Okay, so these are nut-free, which we love. No, they're not. Are they? Yeah, that's coconut. I'm sorry. I'm a little moving as a bear, and I feel like we're just constantly right now, like everything's in all different directions. So my brain is not fully there. And then arrowroot powder. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and throw all of our collagen peptides in. And that's optional, but I really like it. Like I said, I think especially with kids and in the morning and if they're going to camp or school, having like that extra boost of protein I think helps keep them full, but also it's like their brain going in the mornings and kind of keeps their energy up. So that's why I've started throwing it in here. I think it's just a really great way to add a little bit extra into their morning routine. You can also throw it into a smoothie, of course, if you want. I put it in my coffee every morning. This is raw cacao powder. Okay, we've got our baking soda and salts. And then the thing about these that I love that's a little bit different is they have some spices in them. So I do nutmeg and cinnamon, and it's subtle, but just gives it a really, really good flavor. My mixer is like overflowing here, but here we go.
So Kate on Facebook is wondering if you can taste the maple flavor in these muffins. And some people are also wondering if you could use honey instead of maple syrup.
Yes. So no, I don't think you can really taste it that much because of the chocolate, but if you don't particularly like that flavor, you can totally swap it out. And then yeah, you could definitely use honey. I will say, I think the honey makes the texture slightly different, but not anything huge. And they're chocolate, so you're really not gonna be able to tell that much. They burn a little bit easier with honey just because honey burns a little bit easier than maple syrup. And I also will say that when I don't put the collagen peptides in lately, I've been reducing the maple syrup by quite a bit. My kids don't need it as sweet as they used to, I feel like, but with the collagen, it kind of needs it because it just doesn't have a lot of flavor to it, and the extra sweetness kind of covers it up a little bit. Okay.
So we also have a few people saying that they can't tolerate eggs. Would this be a recipe where you could do an egg sub? And if so, what would be a good one?
So I haven't tried this specific recipe without eggs, but as you saw, there were lots, 16 in a double batch, 8 in a regular batch. My rule of thumb typically is if there's any more than 2 to 3 eggs in a recipe, I would not try to swap it out. If there's more than 2 to 3, then it's being used structurally and to also help give them rise and to hold them together. So that's a little bit difficult, but if you were gonna try it, I would say aquafaba would be my number 1 recommendation, and then probably a flax slurry would be my second recommendation for an egg sub, and maybe adding a little bit extra starch to kind of help bind them together, but they are going to be much more dense and a lot more like cakey than kind of having this nice crumble that these have, so just keep that in mind. The texture is going to look a lot different, but you can absolutely try it and see how it works out, and kind of experiment a little bit until you get the consistency that you want. I always have to mention too, if you have a chicken egg sensitivity or an allergy, a lot of people find that they can do duck eggs as opposed to chicken eggs. The protein structure is different, and there's a lot of folks that find that even if they have a chicken egg sensitivity or allergy, that they can actually tolerate duck eggs. So just maybe give that a shot as well. I know they're not as easy to find, but farmers markets and sometimes like a Whole Foods will sell them. And they're a really great sub for chicken eggs in baking. And they'll still give you that, texture and consistency that you get with the regular eggs. So I've scraped down the side a few times. And then I'm gonna start it up again, because coconut flour takes a bit to absorb some of that moisture, and so if your batter is really, really thin, which it's going to be thin for these, but if it's really thin, you can kind of stop the mixer for a few minutes and then start it up again, and that coconut flour will start to absorb some of that moisture. And my coconut flour is also really clumpy, so I'm gonna just add a tiny bit more. If that happens to you, by the way, because it just kind of depends when we get it, I would take, you can either put the whole bag into a food processor, or I would just take a fork and kind of fluff it up. But coconut flour is really finicky, and so if you're measuring it and you've got huge clumps in it, then you're not getting nearly as much as you're supposed to be getting. If we baked by weight for you guys, that would definitely be more accurate, but I've told you guys this before, I don't do it in the books because I know that like a very tiny percentage of you actually keep kitchen scales in your kitchen and have the time to weigh things out. So I try to write the recipes like a regular home cook would use. Okay, that's a little better. I'm just gonna add an extra tablespoon or so in there because it's looking like more of like a milkshake and not quite a muffin batter at the moment. We'll do 2 and see how we do.
So we have a few people wondering if you have a protein powder recommendation.
Protein powder, yes, like for a shake. So this is just Vital Proteins collagen peptides, but in terms of a protein powder, I really like, oh gosh, I might have to put the link at the end because I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's a chocolate paleo protein powder that I really love to make like smoothies with. If you're just really needing kind of those extra calories. It's called, I feel like it's called Pure Paleo, but I can't remember. So I buy it on Amazon. I will say it's not cheap because it has like no fillers and it's really, really good quality, and it's grass-fed protein from, I think it's like grass-fed bovine protein. So that is not cheap. Oh, what's it called? Ryan just pulled it up. It is Pure Paleo. Pure Paleo protein powder. I get it on Amazon. I will give you a link. Okay, I'm just gonna make sure that we have all of our liquid out of our zucchini, which I already did once, but you know when zucchini sits for a while, you can definitely push more of the liquid out. And if you don't, it's not a huge deal, but it will make your muffins just a little bit more dense and they'll kind of sink in the middle. So just push out your zucchini. I suggest shredding it before you even start mixing it so that it can just start to kind of sweat out some of that liquid. And then you can put it in a bowl with a towel underneath it if you want. And then just push it out into some paper towel too, just so it's not too wet when you put it in. And like I mentioned, carrots work really well with this too. If zucchini's not in season or you just don't have any on hand, but you have carrots, it's an even sub, works really well. I'm gonna like overdo my mixer here. I probably should do this by hand, but we're gonna just gingerly turn it until it all gets incorporated there. All right.
So Renee on Facebook is wondering if these muffins freeze well.
Yes, they do. Very well. We keep them in the freezer. I don't even keep any out usually. I just let them cool. There's freezer instructions in the book. I let them cool and then just freeze them all. Okay, dairy-free, soy-free chocolate chips. These do have some cane sugar in them. So if you want to keep it 100% refined sugar-free, I suggest grabbing a bar of Hu chocolate and chopping it up and putting it in here, but I don't waste my Hu chocolate on my kids. So a little bit of regular sugar is okay for them here and there. But you could also do, I mean, these are dark, so they're not super high, but they definitely have some there. Enjoy life. Then another option, my favorite, that's soy-free, dairy-free, would be the Guittard chocolate chips, and those are a little bit darker, so slightly lower in sugar. But yeah, anything you want, you can use in here. And you don't even have to put those extra chocolate chips in. Sometimes I sprinkle some on top too, but my kids like the extra little treat of chocolate in there. But that's optional. You could do nuts. You could do, I mean, even if you wanted to do some dried fruit, you could do that as well. I mean, really, you could kind of fold in anything into these. That's not going to make a difference as long as it's not another like liquid-based add-in. All right. So I made a double batch, so this is gonna make a ton. But we have a small deep freezer that I've been doing now, so I just figure if I'm gonna dirty the mixer and everything else, all the measuring stuff, I may as well just double and triple things at this point because my kids are going through stuff so quickly, especially now that they're home for summer and all 3 of them eat like they're teenagers. So it makes more sense for me at this point. Okay.
So while you're doing that, we
Yes.
have a few people that are wondering if you could just say again where they can find this recipe and if you could explain the giveaway just once more.
Yes, I can. So the giveaway, first of all, is just for being here and for commenting and tagging a friend on Facebook in this post in the comments. And then for Instagram, just go back to any of my 3 most recent posts on my feed. So just go to the Danielle Walker page, those top 3 pictures, comment and tag a friend with the little @sign. That's how you're entered. We will go through tomorrow and pick winners. And then the recipe is in the new book, Eat What You Love. But there's also a rendition of it on my blog. So you can go through and just look at that. The one on the blog doesn't have the collagen and the amounts are slightly different, but they're pretty much the same. I included them in the book because they've become such a fan favorite from you guys and because we used them so much, and I put them in the Make Ahead chapter because we use them so much. There's a whole Make Ahead chapter of things that I basically make, once a month or so and put in the freezer to have on hand for my kids at all times. So I'm gonna keep filling these, but I'm not gonna make you guys watch me keep filling them. So I'll pop them in the oven, double batch, and put them in the freezer, and you can find the freezer instructions in there. So again, just in case you joined in late, I want you guys to enter to win this book because we're starting the Cookbook Club again for the month of July, For the month of July, we are gonna do this book again, but I think for future book clubs, maybe going forward, we might do, like 2 books or maybe one of my old ones. So we'll have fun with it. We'll kind of keep it going and have new prizes. And you guys, that way, if you don't have, the newest copy or something like that, you can still participate in other book clubs for future months. One more note, if you don't win for this giveaway, your local library very likely has the book, or maybe you have a friend that has one, and you can borrow it and snap your photos and make something and still post and be included in the book club because you have a chance to win this by posting. So if you want to just go borrow it from somebody or from the library, that's a great option as well. All right, guys, thanks for being here. See you next week.